for affection. But just like C. Darwin, I live for natural selection. Never hugs or connections, I just constrict and reject them. I make my snake oil transactions, eject my papers and stack them. All these words in my DMs, no message back, I just see them. I get them hooked and I really don't know. I'm back when I'm leaving. On that snake on this lane, I'm speeding my voice in the train. I'm having the homies and playing, we drinking that venom, so baby. I'm a V-I-P-E.
Hello and welcome to Not the GP, the place to be for your Saturday night entertainment in which Formula One drivers, content creators and various celebrities from around the globe go head to head with one another on the F1 2019 game on Codemasters. Last time around, and we were treated to some amazing races at the Circuit Spa-Francorchamps, in which Chamberlain Bassi beat Charles Leclerc by 13 thousandths of a second before Daniel Beresnay took victory in the reverse grid race. This time, though, our attention turns to the jewel in the crown, which is the Formula One calendar, as Not the GP heads to Monaco, and we are going to be treated to plenty of drama and action along the way. Joining me once again on the show is the content creator Ariva. Ariva, welcome back to the show. It's good to have you on.
Yeah, good to be here, Hayden. And like you say, Monaco, I mean, that just guarantees some spicy action for sure.
As an F1 fan, how big is Monaco? It is such an important circuit on the F1 calendar. It may not always produce the greatest racing, but it always has to be on the calendar, doesn't it?
Yeah, like you said, it's the jewel. It always has to be there. It's kind of not an F1 calendar without Monaco, I think, and it's definitely one of the best qualifying shows of the entire year, the most important qualifying session of the entire calendar, and that's why the pressure's going to be on with these guys with a one-shot qualifying today. The pressure's going to be so on, because unlike in real-life F1, they get a few more chances. This time around, all our drivers have one shot. That's it, and then they have to go to the race. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they fare.
It is going to be very difficult for them because not only have they got that one-shot qualifying to deal with, but the barriers are so close around here, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, in the race, there's definitely going to be some very tense moments. Maybe some people in the barriers we'll have to see, but I'll be surprised if not by the end of race number 2. But I think the racing action is going to be quite close as it is in real life. But because it's the game, perhaps some of the real life drivers might try lunges they may not do in real life. So I think it could get quite frosty maybe, and especially in race 1 where they're getting used to each other and the circuit in the game.
I think we could see some incredible racing here. So we've got a tweet already coming in. Been waiting all week for this. Don't let me down. Hashtag not the GP. This is from Archie. So if you want to get in touch with us, you can do so using the hashtag not the GP as well. So we're going to move on to talk about the format for today because it's slightly changed compared to previous weeks. You mentioned already we've got a one-shot qualifying ahead of us. How difficult is that going to be for drivers? They've got one lap. That's it. You mess it up, you're at the back of the grid. And Monaco qualifying is the most important part of this weekend.
Yeah, the pressure's going to be on. Obviously, the grid slot's going to, pay massive dividends for race number 1, and then that sets you up for race number 2, of course, because the top 10 are going to be reversed. So that's going to be really difficult because if you have a bad race 1, then it's going to be very difficult to turn the tides if you're not in that top 10 kind of collection. But the pressure will be on from the get-go. They're going to load in and just get sent onto the track, basically. So there's no time to even really think. You've got to straight be on it into the brake zone turn 1.
Yes, they really do. 25% races ahead of us today. You've already mentioned the second one. It is going to be a reverse grid race, but this time it's 1st to 10th are going to be flipped around. So if you finish the race for race 1 in 10th, you're going to be starting in pole position. If you finish 11th, you will be starting in 11th place and all the way down like that. Race 2 is also going to be a night race. We've got reduced damage once again, and this time we're going for strict corner cutting because the corner cutting on reduced, you could take a lot of advantages with it, couldn't you?
Yeah, definitely. But I think we're going to Andy now to bring us in, and it's going to be really interesting to see how everyone fares with that in the race and quali.
Yes, Andy, why don't you talk us about this Monaco track? How special is it?
Well, it really is. It's the jewel in the Formula One crown. It's the one that everybody wants to win in real life. And it's such a tight, twisty circuit. As you guys touched on, we wouldn't be surprised if we don't see anyone in the barrier around here. It's the shortest track on the calendar. It's just so tight, so twisty. And you need to be on your game from start to finish because one error and you will be in the wall. We've got the legendary Casino Square section. We've got Rascasse down by the harbour as well. And extremely tight, the slowest corner on the calendar, the hairpin. So yeah, it's going to be exciting to watch, and let's see if anyone will go for some daring moves. And there is the lap there itself, one DRS zone, and that is of course across the start finish line. Will we see any dives into Sandivot? I suppose we'll have to wait and see, but I'd say the best chance for a move is down into turn 10 and 11 at the Nouvelle chicane at the exit of the tunnel. So yeah, Hayden, I'm really looking forward to this one, and especially to see if anyone goes for those crazy dive bombs.
Well, I was just going to ask you, will we see any overtakes and where we're going to see them? You've seemed to mention that down into turn 10 at the Nouvelle chicane is where we're going to see it, up the inside, possibly where we've seen plenty of moves in the past. But do you reckon anyone's going to go for any daring moves at any other sections of the track?
I wouldn't be surprised if someone stuck it up the inside at the hairpin, especially when there's a lot of traffic in the early laps of the race. Someone might go against the grain, and instead of following someone into the corner, someone might just dive out from behind in the train, stick it up the inside, and maybe try and get a move done there. I'd say that's a good opportunity. As I touched on, turn 1 with the DRS zone, maybe. I've even seen moves round the outside up the hill into Masseny, so you never know. People can get inventive when they're desperate to try and find a way through, and we might just see that. And as you guys touched on, with qualifying being one shot, you need to get it right. You absolutely have to. And if you don't, then we will see some drivers trying to make up for lost time, going for some great moves.
We really will. The pressure is definitely going to be on for them around here. What about strategy? What is the strategy around Monaco today?
The strategy is simply keep it out of the barrier. It really is. And I mean, if anyone can pit early and try and slot a gap, find a gap in the pack, that they can look at their mini map and see where they can slot in and try and get some clean air, that might work for them. And that might work when it comes to an undercut or pitting extremely early. We've seen the likes of Danny before and the likes of the squad sprint pitting really early, haven't we? So, we might see that from Shem. We might see that from some of the other esports drivers involved today. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But, the last thing you want to do if you're a really quick esports driver or a top content creator is find yourself stuck behind someone who isn't particularly fast, because, as we know, it's so difficult to overtake.
It really is. We mentioned about the strategy a little bit. Tyre wear very minimalistic around here. You could probably last the whole length of the race on a set of soft tyres. We've got another tweet coming in. About time I've had a Saturday off to watch #NotTheGP live at Zach. So thank you very much for sending in that. But yeah, one-stop strategy most likely going to be happening today unless anyone puts it into the barrier. But like you said, traffic is going to be very difficult for here. What have people got to do if they do find themselves lower down the field in qualifying?
I think they've got to be patient, Hayden, to start with. I think patience is key. People will make mistakes in front of you. They might hit the wall, they might clip the front wing. It is on reduced damage, so they won't destroy the car. There won't be any safety cars or anything like that. But, you will see drivers struggling a little bit with some damage. So here we go. We are straight into one-shot qualifying then, and this is it. This is the one chance they will get to deliver, and we're on board with Nicholas Latifi as he goes down the hill through Casino Square and sweeping down towards the end of that first sector. Arif, this is so important, isn't it?
Yeah, the pressure's on. I mean, they've already got one-third of the lap done, and so Latifi under pressure in kind of the mid-pack at the moment. Tiametmarduk Bassi at the top, but he's just been pipped by Charles Leclerc and James Baldwin, the world's fastest gamer there in the Mercedes car, but he's back up to third. Tom 97 close behind in P4 through the tunnel, and then towards that last third of the lap, Andy.
Yeah, here we go through the tunnel, back out into the daylight and into that Nouvelle chicane where we spoke about potentially seeing some overtakes then. So at the minute, James Baldwin is still the quickest as they make their way through to back. And look at that, Charles Leclerc right up against the barrier, pushing all he can as they go through the second part of the swimming pool, bouncing off the barrier yet again, leaving absolutely nothing on the table. It's still James Baldwin, the world's fastest gamer, on top as they come round the final corner. Who's going to get the best run to the line? It looks like it's going to be James from Shem and Charles Leclerc, and that is exactly what it is. So there you go, James from Tiametmarduk Bassi, Charles Leclerc, Tyrrell Limitless, and Dave Gaming in fifth, with the two McLarens 6th and 7th, and Latifi in 8th. Arif, well, that was a blast, and James Baldwin will be delighted with that pole position. Half the job done, Arif.
Yeah, he's going to be thrilled with that. First time coming in into the the series after a while. It's going to be he's going to be really chuffed, and it's obviously the best place to be at Monaco. You mentioned the two McLaren side by side with each other. That's going to be interesting to see if there's any team tactics there. You've got Latifi right behind, so F1 driver v F1 driver. So if any team tactics do come in, that'll be interesting to see. But then behind James, two very quick drivers, of course, and two drivers that are very familiar with one another in this series. So that will be interesting to see how they fare in the race.
Yeah, it's extremely tight, isn't it? 310s, three 310s at the top, but behind that, Chem and Charles Leclerc very, very close. But incredible job there. I don't know what's happened to Tom, because Tom was really high up initially, wasn't he, in the early part of the lap? Yeah. So he must have made an error somewhere, which is a shame for him. Thibaut Courtois, they're lining up in 12. Matt, not quite hitting the heights of last week, but he is on the medium tyre, interestingly. So we spoke a bit about strategy. He's did that lap on the medium, but of course, he's outside the top 10. He'll get 3 tyre choice anyway. But yeah, exciting to see. But James, that is half the job done for him, isn't it? But, you got to be concentrated. You got to keep it on the island and ensure that you can maintain the lead. But, qualifying so important here, more important than anywhere in the Formula One calendar.
Yeah, for sure. But also at the same time, it is the F1 game rather than real life. So you never know. There might be a dive. There might be a hairpin time moment. You never know. And you've got to be careful into Sandor on the F1 game all the time. So Chen might be going for it. Charles as well. And then obviously everyone else can be fighting, infighting for their positions. And that might mess up other people down the order. So yeah, like you mentioned, Andy, earlier, it's going to be about patience for maybe some of those other guys down the order, about, just making sure they survive the opening lap and then see what they can do with the strategy. Maybe pit early, maybe try something different. So it's going to be interesting, and that will set up a very interesting race too, where the top 10 are then reverse.
Yeah, well, that's another thing we should touch on. Top 10 in reverse. Maybe not the full top 20 this time, because it would have been extremely crazy as we get back underway under formation lap then, with James Baldwin leading them off, with Jean-Paul Leclerc right behind. Charles Leclerc had his home circuit, driving round the streets of his hometown. I wonder what that would feel like, Arav, driving around your hometown, not only in real life, but on a game as well. That's strange, isn't it? I couldn't imagine driving around my hometown. Yeah.
I mean, he must know the geography of the entire place. It's going to be kind of weird to drive virtually around and kind of know where everything is, but it's not been the best time, let's admit it, for Charles at his home GP in real life. So let's hope he has better luck virtually here, because even in 2020 his real life Grand Prix has been cancelled, and that's why we're here with the Not the GP series at the Monaco Grand Prix. So let's hope for his sake he has a good one today, but he's got two very, very quick drivers in front of him to try and match, and also one behind in the former Tyrrell Limitless as well.
Yeah, Tyrrell Limitless, very, very quick. We saw him, of course, fighting with Charles Leclerc when Limitless took the victory in Hockenheim a couple of weeks ago. So he'll be looking to try and get the better of him once again. And I think Tyrrell Limitless in that Hockenheim race actually was one of the drivers that pitted very, very early, in fact. So we'll have to wait and see if anyone does do that, because strategy, as we know, is so much more important on a track like this, where it can be difficult to make moves. But here we are then, coming round Rascasse, and the cars will be lining up on the grid for the start of this race. No chance to properly practice for this one. Straight in to the qualifying session. One lap only. Let's see who's rusty and who is not then. As the 5 red lights are about to come on, as the cars line up on the grid, it's James Baldwin starting from pole position. He hasn't raced in the Not the GP series since Australia, but he's came back with a bang and is ready to take on Jean-Paul Leclerc and a number of F1 drivers. Charles Leclerc, the highest of them, in third. We've got Lando Norris in sixth, Latifi in seventh. But here we go then. The 5 red lights coming on. Race 1 and Not the GP at Monaco is go now. Hopefully, there we go. James Baldwin takes us away from pole position, and he leads easily down into that first corner from Jean-Paul Leclerc. So that's a key moment there for him. He's easily through and up the hill, heading through Beau Rivage and on towards Massenet and Casino Square. He leads from Jean-Paul Leclerc and Charles Leclerc in third, Arav.
Yeah, Charles very, very close behind Shem. Those two literally nose to tail. And so, I don't know, maybe Charles might go for a move potentially to the hairpin, maybe out the tunnel. Let's see, literally that Ferrari's pushing that Toro Rosso through Monaco. But no, El's calm. It might be a little cheeky dive for Latifi. I think that is in the Williams. And there's been a massive kerfuffle with Matthew Gallagher in the Ferrari, and Leclerc has gone for the move on Shem. And it's all come crashing down. Tyrrell Limitless is now up in second, Andy. It's all kicking off on lap 1.
Unbelievable. Charles Leclerc going for a move there on Jean-Paul Leclerc into Portier. Did not work out, and into the wall went Leclerc. He's got wing damage now, and Charles Leclerc, I think, might have got away without any damage, but he has. Oh yeah, you can tell with the understeer there, he might just have damage. And Tyrrell Limitless is up into second place. It's a Mercedes 1-2. Unbelievable stuff. There was drama at the hairpin. They were all concertinaing up at the slowest corner on the racetrack, the slowest corner on the calendar, and it caught a few cars out. But it is James Baldwin leading, and into the pits already comes Lando Norris. And is that for a wing change, or is that because he wants to get into some clean air? We'll have to wait and see, Arif.
Could be tactical, could be. Let's see if we just stay on with him. Is he going to make a wing change? No, he's not. So I think that is fully tactical from Lando. He's been held a little bit, though, in the pits, unfortunately. So let's see how that works out for him. But he's going to be in clean air. And now you can see here is the Leclerc train ahead of Jean-Paul Leclerc, literally, with the understeer he will be feeling. But I feel like Andy, once again, as the Red Bull trying to go down the inside of Mirabeau there, it doesn't quite work. I was about to say, Andy, I feel like I've maybe jinxed Charles once again in this race, like I was doing a few times last race, because I mentioned him not having any good luck here at his home GP, and that one, it's all kind of gone a little bit wrong for him, because he's losing massive amount of time, and everyone is now, because look at that, already a massive gap to Tyrrell Limitless, and the two Mercs. Well, it's very much like real life in a way at the moment.
Yeah, it really is. They're driving off into the distance at the moment. Hopefully we do not ruin everybody else's races with some commentators' curses. But Charles Leclerc in third place at the moment with Bottas right behind it. And what you guys touched on at the top of the show has came to fruition. Drivers going for moves that they maybe wouldn't necessarily do in real life. And right away, Charles Leclerc went for it into Porty. It didn't quite work out. As James Baldwin sets a brand new fastest lap of this Grand Prix out in the lead. He's nearly 4 seconds clear of Thierry Limitless in second as we go with Nicolas Latifi. And he's going down the outside, is he? On De Pilio. Couldn't quite find a way through in the Frenchman. They're going to go side by side up the hill through Pont de Vache. That's usually one way through there. Unbelievable round the outside into Massenet. And Nicolas Latifi pulls it off. Lovely stuff from Latifi. And the Canadian finds his way through and up into 6th place. What a move that is, Arif.
That was insane. Lovely little switch from the left to the right there. Got the traction and, a move that, like you said, Andy, maybe doesn't get done in real life too often, but you've made it count. He's kind of kept his right foot on throttle pedal and he's up into P6 now, past De Pilio, and now can try and catch up to Dave Gaming in the Racing Point car. Meanwhile, we're on board with Leclerc as he has a little look and he's a bit too hot. Under braking, and Leclerc once again having a little bit of contact with Temple Abbasi, who's up into third, by the way, so they swapped at some point there. And so the Turkish driver is in P3. He's going to try and get away, and Leclerc's almost limping around this circuit, desperately trying to claw on and keep up with the pace, I guess, in a way.
Yeah, well, that was a bit of deja vu for Charles Leclerc there, wasn't it? He ran into the back of a Toro Rosso, albeit with brake failure, in the 2018 race back in the real life in 2018. It wasn't to be this time round. It was obviously just a missed braking point, but he's getting a brand new front wing as he comes into the pits, and they're going to have to queue because Matty Gallagher is in the pits as well. Oh, they're queuing in the pit lane down at Ferrari. What a disaster that is for the pair. Norris is in the pits again.
I don't know if Norris has been in the wars or maybe this potential... Oh, he's got a penalty, it would seem. He's serving a drive-through because the team are not working on it. And now it's going to be a change of wing. So we must have missed something with Lando Norris. He's changing the wing. He must have got a penalty for that as well. So we've now got two of the Formula One drivers, a little bit down the order. Lando P17, Leclerc P12 at the moment. We move back to James Baldwin in a world of his own, showing why he's the world's fastest gamer, doing Veloce Esports very proud indeed in first place, Andy.
He sure is. I mean, he's a serial winner in the world of esports, isn't he? The world's fastest gamer and the E-Rock champion in 2019. And he's showing the field up here with a stunning performance. He leads out in front handsomely by nearly 5 seconds to his teammate Thierry Limitless, with Shembolik Bassi in third and Latifi in fourth. It's such a challenging circuit, though, it can bite, as we've already seen from a number of drivers already, as Leclerc now picks up a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Things not going well for a few of the Formula One drivers. Leclerc and Norris in trouble, with Latifi the one shining at the moment, having made that beautiful move a few laps ago, as we go to De Pilio in the pits now. Another car in the pit lane, and it's a brand new wing I think I saw going on there. Thibaut Courtois has been in as well, and he's rejoining just in front of him into P7 on the medium compound tyre. So quite a few pit stops going on early on here, Arif.
Yeah, but I think a few people have had like a night gain from all that action. I think Tom's had a very quiet start there. Obviously, we mentioned in qualifying is now on the exit. The Red Bull just gets taken. Jay Pietsmiet in the Racing Point gets ahead of the Red Bull. Is there going to be a move? No, there isn't. But Tom had a mistake in qualifying. As the Toro Rosso is literally sideways on the track there, and hopefully no one gets caught up on that. Ghosting will be on, so hopefully people can go through him. But as I was going to try and finish my sentence here with Tom, he's had a very quiet start, and he's actually jumped a lot of people, started mediums, I think. So he's going to look to try and jump a few people with his strategy, the constant strategy, the reverse of most people. As now we've got a load of people now making an early pit stop. They're going to have to fight each other, and that may just pay into the hands of people like Tom. Whereas now you can see the Toro Rosso of Veloce Esports, I think. Sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. Navigating the course a little bit slowly with wing damage, massive wing damage on the front right. So that's going to be a wing change for sure. So obviously, Andy, Monaco, treacherous, no room for error, and it punishes you so hard.
Yeah, it's a shame for Veloce making his debut here. He's making his debut here, of course, and and the Brazilian YouTuber not going to plan for him at all. As we go back to James Baldwin, who's just been in the pits. He's now into third position. He's come out on the medium compound tyre, and he's come out just ahead of Tom 97. So that's great news for James Baldwin. We spoke about it, didn't we, about how important it was to make your pit stop, come out in clean air, and that's exactly what he's done. He's got a full 8 seconds to the next car in front, which is Shembolik Bassi. So things falling into place perfectly for the Englishman. James Baldwin out, well, not out the front now, he's in third, but he will be the net leader of this Grand Prix. Just to touch on Tom's decision to go in the mediums, it makes good sense. Of course, we know there won't be any safety cars, so there wasn't any risk of there being an early safety car and having to switch to a different tyre, so it made sense for him to do that. And he's running well in fourth place at the moment. We'll see where he feeds back out after his pit stop later on, but things going pretty well for James Baldwin as things stand, as Courtois picks up a 3-second time penalty.
Yeah, I think for Tom, it'll be sensible for him to try and just keep up with James and try and get pulled along, as now we have a pit stop for Chem finally, but it's going to be a penalty that looks like, as you can see the pit crew are having to wait for that penalty to be served, and then they can start working on the car, just as it is in real life Formula 1, and so Chem gets those medium tyres on. So a lot of people finding it tricky with the track limits on this game, set on strict tonight after doing some evaluation of it on regular, and we thought it would be fit to have that on strict, but a lot of people having issues with that, it would seem, today, as Chem's out in P11 then, and he is not in clean air, and he's in some traffic, and so that's going to be a bit of a nightmare for him to navigate, as now move back to Dave Gaming up ahead, chasing after one Charles Leclerc, who's up into P5 to be fair, so after all the mayhem, doesn't look too bad for Charles there in P5.
Yeah, things beginning to take shape now for Charles Leclerc, but he's got quite the train behind him, and Dave Gaming, who was a star last time out on debut, putting up another great showing here. He's right behind the Ferrari driver as they go through the tunnel, and is he going to be close enough to make a move going into the braking zone? It doesn't look like it on this occasion as they go through. I think that might be Tommy T999 who might be out of the race, so Dave Gaming running in sixth place, trying his best to find a way through on Charles Leclerc. And interestingly, just looking down the order on the timing ladder there, Shane Bollick-Bassey still, having made that pit stop, not ahead of Jay Pietsmiet. So any hopes he had of potentially jumping Tyrrell Limitless in the stops have gone. But I think he might need to be a bit more concerned about the likes of Charles Leclerc maybe getting back ahead of him if he can find some pace, because obviously he's stuck behind, and there he is right now, stuck behind Jay Pietsmiet as they go across the start line. Now, we mentioned DRS could be key. You might be able to have a look into that first corner. Let's see if Shem is going to do it. Not quite close enough, and he remains stuck behind Jay. But can he do what we've already seen from one Nicholas Latifi in this race and go round the outside? He's going to try it. It will give him the inside for Casino Square, but Jay Pietsmiet's got too much speed through there, and he remains stuck behind. And there's quite a queue of cars forming just in front. Is he going to go now into Mirabeau? He does think about it. He's going to have to barge his way alongside and through, and he's still not through though. He's on the outside. This usually doesn't work at the hairpin, but incredibly it does. Is he through? Yes, he is. He's done it. Incredible stuff, Adam.
How's he done that? Wow, what a move. Really got the elbows out, but I think that was as harsh as you get, but as fair as you get around Monaco, because it is a street circuit, so you're not going to get a lot of space to work with, so I think that was the fairest way we could get it. And so what a stunning move there from the Turkish driver in the Toro Rosso to get up into P10, like we mentioned, has to get through the traffic, and unlike in real life, where maybe Andy would have seen that gone on for many, many laps, just sitting behind, he's gone for the move, he's made it work, and so now he can get on with trying to make some potential more moves as he goes around the outside. I think that was into Raskas. We now cut back to Dave Gaming chasing after Charles Leclerc in the Racing Point car. Like we said, did a stunning job on his debut in the Not the GP series last time out, and he's doing another great showing here. So, kudos to him. Leclerc trying his best to chase after Latifi in P4. Just looking at the gaps there, 4 seconds into Tyrrell Limitless. So the two F1 drivers looking to close up on the content creators of Tom97 and Tyrrell Limitless, who are quite close together. And then you've got a 5-second gap to James Baldwin, still out there just doing the business, controlling the race at his own pace, and going to the end of the Grand Prix. Obviously, I already made the pit stop, so he can kind of just calm down and make sure he doesn't cut any corners or anything like that. As we watch on now a fight between maybe Thibaut Courtois, the Real Madrid goalkeeper, and the Red Bull of Depiello in P10, and then Jay Pietsmiet also close behind. Jay Pietsmiet has improved massively through these races he's participated in, I must say, and so doing a good job to keep up with those two as we now swing back through to Leclerc v Dave Gaming. Dave Gaming keeping up, in Leclerc, to be honest, not looking too lightning quick. He's catching up to Latifi, but I would have thought he would have been pushing away from Dave Gaming a little bit quicker here. He's kind of dragging Dave Gaming with him, Andy, instead.
Yeah, he sure is. Dave Gaming putting in a fine showing yet again, and Leclerc just cannot get clear of Dave at the minute as they both begin to reel in Nicholas Latifi just in front of that. So Leclerc running well at the minute as they make their way up the hill through Massenet as Shane Bollick-Bassey picks up a 3-second time penalty. He'll be really frustrated having to fight his way through all those cars. He's still ahead of Courtois, at least for him, but things not going brilliantly at the moment as Charles Leclerc continues to run in 5th.
They are catching up to Latifi, though, slowly but surely. That visual gap is closing there. Latifi maybe feeling the pressure now. He can see a few cars behind him in the mirrors. So just it's a case of just being patient, making sure you don't make any mistakes, being as close as the wall as you can, but not touching it, and just getting it very fine on the track limits as well, as you've seen so far tonight. You know, many people have got that wrong. So it's just about for Charles not making that mistake and just closing up and then hoping he can make the move. But obviously Latifi, all these F1 drivers have got used to the F1 game more and more as they play it week in, week out, and so you know, they'll be wary that there may be a few punchy moves made. And actually, I can just see, I think there is a little bit of damage there. Yeah, there is damage on Leclerc's wing there, so that might be a massive indication of why Dave Gaming is able to keep up as much as he has done. Because I think he's again, Leclerc's been in the walls a little bit with himself and the wall, and he's lost a bit of his end plate on the front right there.
Yeah, a lot of damage there as we have a look at Depilio tucked up behind Thibaut Courtois. Is he going to be able to find a way through going into the braking zone at turn 1? Doesn't look like it. He picks up a 3-second time penalty though as he now begins his climb up the hill. So let's see if he can find a way through. Courtois just holding the middle of the road, and the goalkeeper just blocking the path of Depilio, as you'd expect from a goalkeeper, stopping anything getting past him. And especially at Monaco, the goals are a little bit smaller, aren't they, to try and block shots, I would say. As Depilio still can't find a way through. Courtois holding firm in 9th place at the moment.
Yeah, I think Courtois, I think Alfa Romeo have got very safe hands, literally,
yes.
in the sense of Thibaut Courtois. Obviously, Courtois driven for the Alfa Romeo car and team a few times now in the MotoGP series, so both are getting very acquainted with each other, and that relationship working very well for them. I think he's also participating in the virtual GP tomorrow with the team as well, so I'll be interested to see how he shapes up there. This is a bit of practice for him, I guess, and Depilio, though, doing a good job to just keep him under pressure. You know, a few little taps and love taps, I guess I like to say, in the hairpin, just letting him know he's there, sniffing him out maybe. You know, you've got now time where it's like this, where there's not much craziness happening. Now you can kind of, you know, line up your opponent as Depilio's doing, maybe sense out where he's slower, which corner is he not as great at off the exit, and maybe try and suss out where he can make one of those massive dive bombs that does eventually come with the F1 game, really, as we're now on lap number 12, you know, over halfway through this Grand Prix. In terms of the update for the running order, you can see on the left-hand side there, James Baldwin's still very much in the lead. Tom 97 in second place, yet to pit though in this race. So it's been interesting to see where he slots in, because he's had a very quiet race so far. He's been in clean air, so if he's had a good one, if he's had decent pace, he could actually slot in quite high and surprise a few people. Meanwhile, we cut back to this kind of chase with Dave Gaming keeping the Formula 1 driver under pressure. He'll be loving this, you know, keeping an F1 driver, you know, honest around Monaco. Obviously, albeit with some damage to his front wing, but still, what an experience for him.
Yeah, it's brilliant from Dave Gaming, it really is, and it's great content for him as well.
And he's actually
he's having a look here. Is he going to go into Rascasse? Well, we've seen Charles Leclerc try moves at Rascasse last year. Make that Anthony knows. Is he letting him go? I think he let him through there. Wow.
He might.
And Dave Gaming takes the place, and Charles Leclerc, well, he's coming straight back at him if he did let him go, which wouldn't make any sense. He's going to go round the outside into turn 1, is he? No, he's not. Dave Gaming holds on and retains that 5th place, which he gained at Anthony knows, because it looked like Leclerc backed out the throttle. So Dave Gaming up into 5th, Leclerc down into 2nd. Leclerc trying at the inside there into Massenet. Goodness me, that was so close. But, you know, quick one on Tom 97. This is a superb strategy from him, isn't it? He's went out on those medium tyres. He's gone deep into the race. He's in the clean air now, and he's not stopped, whereas everyone else has stopped, and they're just tripping over each other in the traffic, aren't they? So such a clever strategy from him as we continue to watch this train of cars as Leclerc picks up a 3-second time penalty as we now go to that man there, Tom 97, and look at that, in plenty of clean air, while everyone else that's stopped is battling one another, and he's just going to be building a gap and building a gap, lap after lap after lap. It's just a brilliant strategy out of, isn't it?
Yeah, he's just doing his thing, you know, concentrating, you know, avid league racer, so he can just get his head down, basically concentrate on the actual lap times itself, the delta time. You know, you're not racing anyone, you're just racing the time sheet, essentially. So he's just doing the best job he can, because the faster he goes, the better. When he makes a pit stop, you know, you've got a big 13-second gap down to Latifi in P4 as Leclerc now is going very slowly, and he's in the pits, and he's spun into the pit lane. Oh my words, it's all gone horribly wrong in race number 1, Andy, for the home favourite here. Charles Leclerc makes that second pit stop of the afternoon. New front wing, soft tyres. I mean, he could go for a lap of glory. He's going to be near Lando Norris, so I guess he could have some company there in case of, a fellow colleague of the F1 paddock. But I've definitely cursed him. I need to apologise to him after this race, clearly.
Well, 2 F1 drivers outside the points. Who would have seen that coming before the start of the race? Unbelievable. Nicholas Latifi is still the one performing best of them all. He's 4th at the minute as we keep an eye on TRL Limitless, tucked up behind Tom 97. I don't think Tom will hold him up too much. I mean, obviously, I don't think he's going to let him through, because what's the point? He's not going to find a way through if they're at similar pace anyway. But Tom won't want to be looking in his mirrors too much. And there you go. He's coming into the pits. No point looking at my mirrors. I want to look in front of me. And he's just said, I'll come into the pits now and see where I rejoin. And I think it will be just behind Nicholas Latifi. We'll have to wait and see. But Limitless now relinquished back up into 2nd place. And it's a Mercedes 1-2 yet again. It's interesting to see where Tom comes out, but I think it will be just behind Nicholas Latifi. We'll have to wait and see as we pick up D'Amelio, and there you can see on the ladder on the left-hand side, Latifi ahead of Tom. But Tom, 2.5 seconds behind, or just a bit more than that, 4.4, but on the soft compound tyre. Now, that'll be one to watch to see who can join the 2 Mercedes on the podium. That will be quite the fight as D'Amelio then lines up Thibaut Courtois down into turn 1. Is he going to be able to find a way through it? Doesn't look like it. He's going deep into the corner. He's going to try and go around the outside of Courtois, but he can't do that. And the Real Madrid goalkeeper and the Alfa Romeo retains P8 for now.
Yeah, he's soaking up the pressure. Thibaut Courtois, obviously, he's used to big occasions being Real Madrid's goalkeeper, but this one might be a different kind of pressure, It's a different world for him, but at the moment, the Red Bull's moving left and right, just letting him know he's in the mirrors, but he's just keeping nice and narrow, keeping it where it needs to be, and parking the car on every apex where he needs to, basically. But yeah, like you said, Andy, it's going to be really interesting to see how Tom fares now on P4 with the soft tyres, but it's Noah's Ark, 2x2 there for the 2 Mercs and the 2 Williams cars, so interesting to see, but that partnership with James Baldwin and Tyrrell is very, very rapid there in 1 and 2. But we're going to continue watching this fight then. And I reckon the way that Red Bull's moving around, I feel like he's ready for a move. I think he's got kind of impatient a little bit now. Yeah. He's tried to line up Courtois. I feel like he's kind of sensed that Courtois is maybe a little bit slow through the last few corners onto that main straight. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a dive maybe into turn 1 at some point. We now move to the 2 Formula 1 drivers, and I can't quite believe I'm saying it. In P11 and 12, Monaco, and Leclerc is right up the back of Lando Norris here as they go through Singapore. Might make a move into La Rascasse round the outside. Leclerc goes, Norris defends. It's a switchback move for Leclerc, and Norris has hit him and forced him into the wall nearly. It's all boiled over a little bit there for the 2 Formula 1 drivers. Leclerc goes through up into P11 though. Lando Norris P12, but I'm sure that and Lando Norris Lando Norris has taken a very interesting line to turn 1, that's all I can say, and he's come back at him. Obviously, it's the F1 game, so these boys are having some fun, obviously, tonight. That's what it's all about. And Lando Norris is out! Oh, my word, Lando, if you're listening, that's just gone very wrong for him. I think what's happened there, Andy, expert analysis here is, on that left-hand side, the wall is not fully flat. There is an actual bit that sticks out, and what I think's occurred there is Lando Norris has stuffed it into the wall. That's the technical term, I feel, and so he's out of the race, and Leclerc can go on P11, but of course, not the GP series. It's all about having some fun here with the real life drivers, and of course, they wouldn't be able to do anything like this in real life, so they're having some fun out there. Lando maybe get a little bit frustrated potentially, but you know what, it's all good fun. But now we're watching on with this battle, which might be a little bit more serious, Andy. Tom versus Latifi, the 2 Williams cars. Let's see how this one ends with 4 laps to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Wall riding gone wrong for the McLaren man, but this looks like quite the scrap as Pietsmiet picks up a 3-second time penalty as Tom, on those quicker soft compound tyres, is getting ever closer to the back of Nicholas Latifi. We said it was 4.4 after his pit stop. It's only been 2 laps and he's already right behind him, but we know how difficult it is to overtake round here, and it's going to be quite the challenge for Tom 97, just the same as we've seen from D'Amelio, who's been impatient behind Courtois. But I'd say there's going to be more likely to be a speed difference here because, of the difference of the tyres. 11 laps old medium tyres for Nicholas Latifi, 2 lap olds for softs for Tom. So every possibility that he is going to find a way through a lot easier than D'Amelio did. But here we go, across the start finish line, the 2 Williamses down towards that first corner. Is Tom going to go for the move into the first corner? He's thinking about it. He's really thinking about it. He's trying to put Nicholas Latifi off. And Latifi, at the minute, still the man out there with the best overtake to show so far in this race. And is Tom going to have a look then as they go up into Massenet and then onto Casino Square? Is he going to gamble in Casino Square to have a flutter down the inside perhaps? We'll have to wait and see, but it doesn't look like it. Latifi holds on still in 3rd place. And is Tom going to maybe try into the hairpin? We've seen a few moves there in the past. No, he's not. and he remains in 4th place. Where do you fancy him getting him out of, if at all?
You know what? He looks pretty rapid in Sector 1, Tom. I think he's got it very hooked up there. So potentially turn 1, but you know what? Let's see through the tunnel. Will he line this one up? He's got a bit of slipstream. I know Tom's very good under braking potentially. So will he go for the Sergio Perez dive bomb down the inside? He has a little look, but then just about slows down the car enough to keep it going. But we've got 1.5 laps left of this Grand Prix. So Tom's got to get it done if he wants to do it. So Sector 1, like I said, Andy's, we're going through swimming pool. Tom giving it full beans through there into La Rascas, and then the last corner. Let's see if he can line this up very close. Latifi kind of almost backing him up a little bit and then going for a boost of acceleration there through the last corner. DRS available to Tom. Let's see into turn 1. He's closing. Will he go for the move? Not quite enough. Through turn 1, I think he lost a little bit of speed actually mid-apex there, so potentially not as close as he was before to make a dive into Mirabeau or the hairpin, but he's certainly putting Latifi under pressure, which is something in itself really. But Latifi obviously very well trained in this stuff, so doing a great job at placing the car where he needs to, Andy.
No, he sure is, and you just wonder where Tom can find a way through. It's just so difficult to do it, and he's clipping Latifi. He's pushing him around the hairpin, for goodness sake. He's saying, come on, get a move on. I'm the quicker of the Williams teammates here today. And here we go, into the tunnel they will go. Tom 97, then into the darkness they go, right into the slipstream. They'll pop out the other end. Is he going to go for a move up the inside? He is this time. Is he going to get it? Oh, no! The two Williams come together. What a shame that is. Tom and Latifi, you mentioned Sergio Perez dive bombs, and that one was the one where they collided with him and Raikkonen. He's waited out for him. Yeah, that's fair. That's what you should do. And Tom,
it's all boiled over. The Williams Civil War is complete. Thank you very much, Tom, for giving me that commentary buzzword. And he's that's that. You know what? He had to go for it at some point. You know, it was kind of now or never really, because it was only 1 lap left. So fair play. He's gone for it. It's not worked out, and they kind of shook hands there. Obviously, I'm sure they're actually talking to each other, maybe in the same chat there. So teammates just able to communicate and wait up for one another. But now we cut on to the man of the moment, the man of the race, Andy. Domination by our very own Veloce Esports, James Baldwin in 1st place.
Yeah, he's absolutely flying. He's never looked back since he put it on pole position, did he? He has just strolled away out at the front, and he's only got a couple of corners to go. A little slide, a little drift through the Rascas, and then into Anthony Nose. And on lap 20 out of 20, he will come up to the line. James Baldwin, in his first race since the Australian race and not the GP, takes the victory in race 1. A superb performance for the man in the Mercedes, and it's going to be the perfect day for Toto Wolff's team, because TRL Limitless is going to come home behind him and take 2nd place, albeit 15 seconds behind. It's a 1-2, and of course, as we mentioned earlier, it's 2 by 2 by 2, because here we go, Nicholas Latifi, in the end, after a hear-him-scare-him moment with Tom 97, is going to come home to take that podium place, isn't he, Arif?
Yeah, great stuff there. Good to see the respect there between those two teammates. And Latifi is the highest placed Formula 1 driver. So well done to Nicholas. He's done a great job of navigating this Grand Prix, unlike the others who unfortunately got caught up. And remember that look at this. Oh my word! Chem, I think, just made a move on Dave Gaming. Across the line, photo finish, and Chem, I think, has just got that by a whisker, or potentially a penalty for Dave Gaming's settle that. Potentially, yeah, as Dave Gaming goes down the order to P7, but across the line, pretty much level there. What a move by Chem into the last corner. Stunning stuff there, as Leclerc, after all of that, comes home in P10. So fair play. He's got a point at his home Grand Prix. I spoke too soon. James Pietsmiet's ruined that. Okay, so it's been a pretty bad day in the office then, all round for race 1 for Leclerc in the end. Got pipped by J. Pietsmiet for P10. Courtois in P9 does a good job. But I was about to say, I mean, Latifi did a great job, not getting caught up in anything. But also, remember now, race 2 is a night race, so that's going to be a spectacle in itself. Also, though, the top 10 now reverse. So those two very quick Mercedes cars, or rather, James Baldwin, the very fast man in P10, it's going to be in P10, and it's going to be interesting to see how he copes. I do have some insight that potentially he's going to pit early and try and just get in some clean air and try and come back that way. So that's going to be interesting how those strategies pan out for the entire top 10. That's flipped.
Yeah, we'll be interested to see exactly how it pans out. I mean, they're going to have to keep their nose clean. It's going to be their turn now. They're not at the front, they're at the back, they're in the midfield, so it's now their turn to keep their noses clean. We'll see how it goes, and obviously pitting early would benefit that. Quickly, Arav, your driver of the day, would you go for James Baldwin, or would you go for maybe Tom with that crazy strategy?
I mean, to be honest, I think I've got to just say James, because it was just such a dominant race. Like, at Monaco, that's what it's all about. It's about getting the qualifying right and then executing the perfect race at Monaco, and that's what he did. Honourable mention to Tom, who made a massive comeback from what was, I think, way down the order of the last row of the grid from qualifying. So great stuff for him.
Okay, let's catch up with Hayden. Hayden, what did you make of that race? Another exciting one, and we didn't always expect great action at Monaco, but once again it delivered and not the GP, didn't it?
Yeah, we said, are we going to get any overtakes at Monaco? And boy, did it deliver. They just went for moves all over the place at the start, which was absolutely incredible. We said it at the start, Arav, these guys, they're used to racing in real life. Maybe they don't want to risk it because it's all about a team sport in Formula 1 in real life. But this one, it's just them in a car. If they send it, it's their race over. They don't have to face any team managers or principals after the race. It's all their fault and they can just move on with it. But great overtakes throughout the field, weren't they? And a little bit of elbows out action too.
Yeah, a lot of elbows out for every single car, but it was great. Not even overtakes that didn't finish, just the attempts that were made. Just really heart-stopping stuff that you wouldn't normally see in real life. Good to see them having some fun as well. Down the order when maybe things weren't going so well for them, but at the front, some really tasty moves and just some great, speed shown. James Baldwin showing why he's so talented, one of the fastest racers out there in the sim racing world. And then of course further down, just some great moves like Chem through the last corner on the last lap. I mean, it's a shame we cut on the perfect moment, but we didn't see the build up. I don't know if he tried something at Raskas and then held it all the way through side by side through that entire section, but biblical scenes across the line literally didn't get decided apart from the penalty that Dave Gaming had. Yeah,
I was watching for a while. They were behind each other for quite a bit of time whilst the Tom and Latifi battle was going on. You had Chem behind Dave for quite a while as well. Photo finish, unfortunately, I think Dave picked up a penalty, which lost him a position, which put him down into, I think it was 6th in the end, if I've got my notes correct. 7th. So he dropped down into 7th. But James Baldwin and Limitless, the Veloce guys holding the flag for us there, getting a 1-2 and in the Mercedes. It's pretty boring, this esports malarkey. Mercedes seem to be winning everything.
It's just the irony of those two cars, those two drivers being paired up together. Obviously, they're very, very quick in their own right. So, I mean, I'm not too surprised, to be honest, looking at the whole grid that was there. But now race 2 is a different story, Hayden. The top 10's reversed. We're at night, which obviously doesn't really bear any kind of, change on the drivers per se, but it's just a different spectacle. So you never know. I feel like maybe someone like Lando might just be kind of mesmerized by the sight of Monaco at night and might just find himself driving a little bit slower potentially. I don't know. But the fact that the top 10 are reversed, that itself is going to make things very tasty. Will James's speed, will JD's speed in second place there pay out, and will they get back to the front? We'll have to see.
It's going to be a very cool experience. Maybe we'll see Charles Leclerc maybe get a little bit distracted. Used to being around Monaco at the night time. Maybe he's looking out for his favourite club that he visits. But we've had a tweet come in. This is from @the_Luca format. My brother, whenever we played F1 games, would wall ride constantly at Monaco and do lap times I could never match when I drove around it properly. Looks like Lando took some tips from him. That was pretty incredible. It's not just about serious racing for these guys. They're jumping on a game, they're having fun with each other, and they're getting to know each other more than they would maybe do on the real life Formula 1 grid.
Exactly. They've said it before in interviews. They kind of lost touch a little bit because Formula 1 and the ladder to Formula 1 is so crazy, so they kind of lose contact. And now they're just getting to spend time with each other, game with each other like they may have done when they were younger and karting days. So it's all a bit of fun and laughs. And I don't know, maybe Lando's maybe watching some Hot Lap Masterclass maybe back in the day. Got a few tips there for that turn 1 line, because for sure I've done that a few times. So yeah, you never know. But I think race 2 is going to be equally as fun. Hopefully the same sort of dive bombs and kind of just bravery from everyone, and should be another thrilling race.
Well, let's move on to race 2 then. Let's start talking about that. Actually, I'll read this tweet that's just come in. This is from @SidFromEarth. That was the most hilarious Monaco GP I've ever seen. And hashtag not the GP. So yeah, a very hilarious race. Maybe more of the same. It's going to be a different story for the likes of James Baldwin and Limitless. We've got JB and JD. They're going to be starting 10th and 9th in this race. It's going to be difficult for them to come back through the field, surely.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what they do strategy wise. I feel like James and JD will maybe put early just to get that out of the way, and also get into some clean air and not kind of have that sense of anxiety of maybe being dive bombed themselves from the people behind them, and then they can just do what Tom did in that race 1, which is just focus on lap times, focus on how quick you can go on a clean track, and then they can find themselves later on the race high up the order. And then for the other guys who are leading the race early on, who were P10, I think Leclerc unfortunately just missed out on being on reverse pole, so that's going to be a little frustrating for him. But the people like Dave Gaming right at the front there, it's interesting to see how well they do at holding people up maybe.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that. We're going to let you have a little breather before we get into this very exciting race 2. Andy, we're bringing you back in. We're going into race 2. Do you think that these drivers are going to learn from the mistakes of turn 1, lap 1 from the last race, or will they throw some heroics into Sainte Devote once again?
Yeah, I think they're going to have to learn some quick lessons, Hayden. It's so important to just keep your nose clean, as we've seen. And we'll just have to wait and see how it goes. But we saw it down at the hairpin as well. They just got a little bit too tight, didn't they? A lot of cars bumping into each other on that opening lap. So maybe just a wee bit more cautious, or maybe if someone decides not to be stuck behind them, and maybe go for a move up the inside, and we'll see what can happen there.
Well, you mentioned the hairpin. It's always a very difficult corner around here. You're basically coming to a stop if you're in traffic on that first lap. Are people going to learn this? Or maybe some of the other drivers going wide through Mirabeau and then getting that inside line down in towards the hairpin?
Yeah, it's all about setting it up. It always is at Monaco. It's just biding your time and then setting it up. And if you can take that wider line and then just slingshot yourself into the hairpin, just throw it in there and hope for the best. The issue you do have though, if there is a train of cars, if you do throw it up the inside, there's likely to be a car directly in front already taking the hairpin, and there's a chance you'll hit the car in front. So it's all about just waiting to see if you really can go for it or not. But there's a lot of moves going to be done there. We've already seen at the Nouvelle Chicane. Incredible stuff from Latifi in the last race, by the way, up the hill. That was incredible. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see if the drivers get inventive again.
We sure will. We've got another tweet coming in. This is from @Dr. Armin Colour. That hashtag not the GP is some great entertainment for me and Dad tonight. Being part of the team Latifi has its perks, especially when you get class overtakes like the one tonight. And talking of Latifi, we had some great battle really between him and Tom, the two Williams teammate. They did come together, but they shook hands. Tom realised he made a mistake and he allowed Latifi to come back through. Do you think there's going to be any love lost between those two? Will we see them battle again?
I'm sure we will, Hayden. I mean, the fact is, they were so far ahead of the cars behind, they could afford to have contact. They could afford to have a little accident, one slow down and let the other go and no damage be done. And that's exactly what happened. And, Tom realised, I've got nothing to lose here. I've got to go for it. The guys are miles back, so go for it. If it doesn't work out, I'll slot back in behind my teammate and there'll be no issues. And, fair play to him for giving that a go. It just wasn't to be in this occasion. It was a great fight between them, and hopefully we get more of the same.
Well, who are you looking forward to then going into this race? We've sort of had a little teaser of what everyone is about around Monaco. Who's got the pace? Who hasn't? What are we expecting around for this second race? More of the same or something slightly different?
I'm excited to see if the Formula One drivers of Lando Norris and Charles Leclerc can redeem themselves. That's the first thing. And I'm also excited to see if James Baldwin and TRL Limitless can continue their form from the first race and do what the top guys didn't do it in the first race and keep their nose clean and try and get through that field. So I'm excited to see what they can do. And it must be such a shame for Charles Leclerc because he finished 11th in that race on penalties. Yeah. If he finished 10th, he would have been starting on pole position. So, he's been really unlucky there, hasn't he? So, it is what it is. He's going to be starting from 11th alongside or just behind those guys that finished first and second in race 1. So that'll be one to watch.
Yeah. He's going to be straight back up there. He thought he got rid of James Baldwin, Limitless and Jem Bulabassi, but they're coming straight back with him for the reverse grid race. Mm-hmm. Someone actually to point out that could be on for a race win here today, Dave Gaming. He had a fantastic showing last time out in Spa. I think he got a podium and 4th position. This time around, he was battling just ahead of Jem Bulabassi, just missed out on P5. A penalty drops him down into 7th, which means that he's going to be starting in, I think, P4, if you can get your head around everything that I've just said. But reverse grid, 1st and 10th are going to be flipped. So he's going to be starting 4th place on the grid, and he is a very quick driver. Are you expecting the same sort of thing?
Yeah, I'm expecting a good performance from him. He's been a breath of fresh air since coming into the series. I thought he was superb in Belgium. To be honest, I didn't know much about him. I don't think many knew much about him, but he delivered. He was superb and put in a great showing. So yeah, I think there's a good possibility that Dave Gaming, the German driver, can go out there and get a victory, Hayden. There's every possibility. There's so many drivers that can compete here around this circuit, especially those at the front of the field this time round.
There really is. It's going to be a very exciting one. Whereas before we've had the likes of the drivers who have been flipped, not necessarily be up to speed in the game. They might hold on to position for a few corners, but ultimately they just get swamped by everybody else. And the quicker drivers come through within a couple of laps. Monaco's a complete different story. Overtaking, okay, we've seen more today than we would usually see in a real life race, but it is still difficult, isn't it? They still do have a chance.
Yeah, they still do. And, the fact that it's just the top 10 and not the full 20, it means that, the guys that are finished 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th now being at the front, there's not much of a pace difference between them and the top guys. So, the fact that it's Monaco, the fact that this pace difference won't be as much will make it an extremely big challenge. And we know that James Baldwin, thanks to Arif saying earlier, is planning an early pit stop. I think that's his best chance to get in the pits early, cut through, use that clean air that he'll have to his advantage. But the problem is, how many other drivers are going to be considering that? Because there's a good chance Tierra Limitless will want to do that in the first lap. And if he gets ahead of James Baldwin in the first lap in the same team, I'm sure he'll pit before him.
The thing is, it's a good thing having a plan. That's all well and good, but things can change very quickly, can't they? 1 second, you could just lose a little bit of your front wing, or everyone could come in the pits ahead of you, and then all of a sudden James has got clean air with a clean front wing, and maybe he's thinking, okay, let's switch up the strategy. Let's go for it this time. Everything can change.
Yeah, and that's the other problem. How many other people? It's all well and good saying, oh yeah, I'll pit lap 1, there'll be no traffic. What's to say other drivers aren't going to do that? What's to say Leclerc, Limitless, isn't going to do that? Tom might do that. He's done the reverse in the first race. He might change it up again. So, and Latifi might do it. You just don't know. And that's what happened in the first race. So many people had one strategy. They all came in and they all started tripping over each other again after the pit stop. So that might happen for the guys pitting early here. You just don't know.
They really could. Someone we need to mention as well, Matthew Gallagher, didn't really have the best of races here today. Definitely way outside the top 10. I think he got caught up in the incident involving the Lowe's hairpin. He's back down in that position once again. For the next race, he's going to have to do things a bit differently this time, isn't he?
Yeah, he's going to have to get really, really inventive, isn't he? So let's see how he gets on. It was a shame for him getting caught up in that incident and unable to show what he's worth. It wasn't a great day for he or Leclerc in race 1. So he'll be looking to bounce back as strongly as possible. And who knows, the passionate teammate might come back up towards the front of the field. We'll have to wait and see.
Possibly. Let's hope for Ferrari's sake they don't lose any more front wings, because I'm not too sure how many front wings that Ferrari team does have. We've got another tweet coming in. I think one final one that we can get in quickly. Hashtag not the GP. Who said you can't overtake at Monaco? I saw dive bombs everywhere. And that's from @Ninja Boys. We sure did see dive bombs everywhere. And I'm sure we're going to see more of those once again in race 2.
Yep, we sure will. Let's bring Arif in then. Arif, are you looking forward to how things pan out in this race? I mean, the reverse grid or reverse top 10 is going to make things even more exciting, isn't it?
Yep, and we're doing it all at night, Andy. So it's going to be a great spectacle for us to watch. Very unique situation with the F1 game, being able to run Monaco at night. And so, that itself is just going to make things interesting. But yeah, like you said, the strategy, that's a good point that you made, that everyone might try that strategy of pitting early. So once again, they might just trip over one another and they'll be annoying each other like they were in race 1. So it's really anyone's game in terms of that kind of things. We move on to the formation lap. Then you can see Jay Pietsmiet is going to be on pole position behind Thibaut Courtois in second. Then the running order, obviously the entire top 10 is reversed to what it was in race 1's finish.
Yeah, well, let's have a look at that grid then. Jay Pietsmiet from pole position. It's Thibaut Courtois alongside him. And a quick mention on Thibaut Courtois, he's been involved heavily in the Veloce events. He's even raced in the squad sprint, which is great to see as well for such a high-profile name in the world of sport. And we know he's quick on this game. So we mentioned Dave Gaming. Courtois starts in front of him. He could have a good performance today. We'll have to wait and see. The Paleo starts from 3rd, Dave Gaming 4th. So yeah, it's going to be exciting to see who'll come out on top. It really will be fun.
Yeah, I mean, he's used to diving, so let's see if he makes a dive into turn 1. That could be, I've saved that one for a while, Andy. Hopefully he makes a dive and does Alfa Romeo proud, as he has done in previous events already as well. But behind them, we've got Leclerc in P11, right behind James Baldwin, the man who won last race. So that'll be interesting to see if Leclerc's going to be as aggressive as he was in race 1, as he maybe learnt his lesson potentially. So that could be a potential fight. That could be quite juicy. And then you've got Lando Norris and Tiametmarduk Tiametmarduk Ben in last place there. The two McLarens at the back. Can they do what Carlos Sainz did at Brazil last year in real life and make a storm to the podium? Might be a bit more difficult here at Monaco, Andy, but they'll try the best, I'm sure. But as we line up through now and get ready for this race number 2 under the floodlights for Monaco at night.
Yeah, it looks like Singapore, doesn't it? You think it would be Singapore.
Yeah.
It's the only street track on the calendar, of course, where we do race at night in Singapore. But no, we're getting it here in Monte Carlo. A great feature of the Formula One game. I hope the drivers knew it because they've got a big surprise. There's no sunshine, the moon is out, and it's a wonderful night here in Monte Carlo as we get ready for race number 2. It's Pietsmiet starting from pole position. He's got the Real Madrid goalkeeper alongside him as the red lights come on here in Monaco for race number 2. Who will win today? This is probably as open as it's going to get in Monaco in terms of the chance of a winner, and the lights go out and we still wait and eventually we get underway. It's Pietsmiet from pole position. Courtois at a terrible start. De Pilio already up the inside of one, tries on another, and there's contact there into the first turn. De Pilio in the wall, Pietsmiet in the wall, but they've got away with it seems. Courtois coming straight back up into second place. We've got one of the Haas cars in there as well. Look at them all streaming up through Masseny and into Casino Square. It's Pietsmiet still in the lead. De Pilio coming back for more down the hill, and is he through and up into second? Not quite. Courtois still holding on. It's 2-2 into Mirabeau. It's Pietsmiet leading from Courtois second and De Pilio third. Let's have a look at the hairpin. Yes, there's more drama. More drama.
3 wide into the hairpin. He made it 3 wide. He's made it work. The two McLarens are going all over the shop into the hairpin. They're trying to make it 5 wide into the hairpin, which is literally impossible there. So lads, I think you got all overexcited a little bit, but they somehow all made it through. No one's had a massive crash out this Grand Prix, at least thankfully. But I spoke too soon, Andy. And the Racing Boy drowning Thibaut Courtois leads for Alfa Romeo now. Second place, De Piello in second. Leclerc up into P4 then. So a lightning start from Monegasque in P4, and the Ferrari from what was, remember, P11 behind James Baldwin. Speaking of him, James Baldwin still down in P12. It's all kicking off, and Leclerc is found away, maybe down inside. Oh, he's drifting through the last corner and hangs on to P4. My word, Andy, that was as fine as you get at Monaco in terms of on the edge.
Well, he's certainly pushing the limits, isn't he? Beyond the limits at times. Leclerc is what's got him up into this position so far. That's why he's flew off the line. Tiametmarduk and Lando Norris are 9th and 10th. We've got so many cars in the pits. We've got 7 cars, I think, in the pit lane already. We mentioned this. How many will pit early? Well, so many have pitted early, they will start tripping over each other. Limitless and Baldwin in the pits, so they'll be queuing as well. So that's another factor we should consider as we look at Tiametmarduk in 9th position onto the back of Nicholas Latifi. But the big story here is the Real Madrid goalkeeper, Thibaut Courtois, is leading a Formula One race. Yes, that is correct. He leads incredible.
That is a great sentence. 2020 is throwing up some amazing timelines, and this is one I never thought I would get to see and say. But yes, Courtois leads a Formula One Grand Prix here, virtually, albeit, but still leads a Grand Prix for Alfa Romeo Racing. Great stuff there. And like you said, Andy, all the people pitting, they have tripped over one another because James Baldwin has come out last of that pack.
Yeah.
And I believe he would have got held because remember the Mercedes pits gantry, the garage is first, so he would have got held quite a bit in the pit lanes. We now see moves flying all the shop and some moves trying to be made by Leclerc. Still though in P4 he is behind the Haas. De Piello closing up onto Courtois though, so the pressure is already on for the race lead, and so it's going to be interesting to see will De Piello go for it. He went for the move on the racing point to turn 1. He goes for a little look in towards Casino Square, so he's not afraid to go for it, it would seem. So the Red Bull driver, he wants blood. He wants the race lead at the moment.
Yeah, he sure does. The front 4 then, all in a line. This is what we touched on just before the start of the race. These guys are a lot quicker than some of the guys that were down at the back of the field. So the likes of Leclerc, the likes of Dave Gamey, they're going to have to bide their time. It will not be easy to sail past these guys as Courtois continues to lead on lap 3 out of 20. He's got quite the train forming. The Red Bull, the Haas and the Ferrari, and pretty soon the other Alfa Romeo of Juan Manuel Correa. So here we go then through the Nouvelle chicane. It's still Courtois in control at the front, ready to save any attacks that come from De Piello behind. But quite the race, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how this pans out, Adam, because Monaco, it really is throwing up some great racing here, and this mixed up grid is really providing some really interesting action. And here we go, De Piello into the pits, and he's been joined in the pits by the Haas as well. So 2 cars have decided to jump out the way. They don't want to queue any longer, and in they come. Let's see if Courtois and Leclerc react in the coming laps.
Yeah, and now it's going to be Leclerc v Courtois at the front. That's another incredible lineup there at the forefront. But now we watch Untitled Chapter trying to get through Jay Pietsmiet, practically pushing him through the swing pool. Will he make a move into Rasgas? Probably not, but Jay very slow there compared to how fast I know JD can go, and also Latifi, to be fair to him as well, behind in the Williams car. So Untitled Chapter now with the DRS. Will he have enough overspeed to make a move? He's going to not go for it. He's patient at the moment. This will be frustrating for him, I think, because of course I think Jay Pietsmiet, I don't believe Jay Pietsmiet did pit at the start. I don't believe, Andy. So I think this might be a little bit annoying for JD here, and in fact everyone.
He has pitted. He has pitted.
Okay, fair enough. So
only 2 laps on the mediums there for Pietsmiet, so he's definitely been in it. This is what we're talking about, Arif, isn't it? People, people pitting early on when others were planning it, and they're all tripping over each other. And the crucial factor is, De Pilio and the Haas have already jumped these guys. They're already still ahead, so they're going to have to beat past them.
Yeah, you called it, Andy, at the very start, before the race happened. You've actually really called it spot on. They basically tripped over one another. They've held each other up in the pit lane, I'm pretty sure, that we didn't see, but they definitely did, knowing the F1 game. And then now they're going to have to repass, each other, and then the people they're trying to overtake. As we now see Tom all over the back, all the back of the Haas, and then also De Pilio behind him. The Haas comes in, and so now De Pilio is going to have a good run on Tom. Tom in some free air. How much free air will it be? Is there going to be anyone ahead of him? No, doesn't look like it. So now cut to the McLaren of Lando Norris in the pit lane. Then obviously we mentioned the McLarens did make a stonking start on lap 1, maybe a little bit forceful into the hairpin, but still nonetheless a stonking start. And so Lando comes out in P13, just ahead of Matt Gallagher in the Ferrari there, and now he goes to the end. So let's see how that goes, as now we see Carrera closing up onto Leclerc, and Carrera's going to go for it there. The Alfa Romeo around the outside of the Ferrari. Leclerc against his old team in Formula 1, and he can't quite make it there, so Carrera has to fight for another time. But great to see these two real drivers going at it virtually and leaving nothing out on the track, Andy.
Absolutely, and it's just allowing Thibaut Courtois to say bye-bye, cheerio, I'm going further up the road. And he is now 1.6 seconds clear. And as Leclerc comes into the pit, so there you go, he jumps out of the way, Correa carries on. But the fact that the likes of De Pilio have come out ahead of the likes of Thierry Limitless, Jay Pietsmiet ahead of Thierry Limitless, Latifi as well, it's so important, and it's going to help Courtois massively. It will even help Leclerc. Let's see where he comes back out onto the racetrack. There's every chance he might come back out in 5th or 6th place. So Tom's gone in front of him. De Pilio's in front of him. Let's see how many more. 8th place. Is he ahead of Bullock Massey? Let's see. No, he's not. So that's another place dropped. So let's see where Courtois comes out. He was around 1.82 seconds. There he is there, coming out in 9th place. So I would think that Courtois is going to come out behind the likes of Bullock Massey and maybe just in front of Leclerc. But look, they're all going to be ahead of that massive train of Limitless, Pietsmiet, Norris and Latifi. So things going very well for the guys pitting late.
Yeah, very, very well indeed. But at the moment, it's a 1-2 for Alfa Romeo Racing. Then those two speaking to each other, I'm sure, in a Discord chat, so they can try and work together, maybe try and suss out, what lap each other's going to pit. Don't trip over one another. They've got a great opportunity here with some clean air to try and build that gap and try and get out ahead of Leclerc and make sure they're away from that pack, like you said, Andy. But yeah, that is big. That's really everyone that pit early is basically going to be very frustrated what's happened here. That strategy's been blown out the window in terms of what was meant to happen and what has actually happened here. And now it's a completely different race for them. It's a frustrating one because they're going to have to fight each other just for not even points, Andy. It's P10, but after JD, it's all just for, position and no points here in this Grand Prix, not in the top 10. And so it's just for pride, essentially, because obviously we're nearly halfway through this Grand Prix, so there's not much you can do. As Latifi went for a very audacious dive, I think that was, into the swimming pool section. He's gone very wide. I think he's lost the rear end as well on the exit and the entry to the next last corner. Now it's going to be Lando Norris all over him. So the two F1 drivers battle away as we cut on to the two Alfa Romeos, nose to tail. Carrera, the real life driver, maybe pushing Courtois a little bit here now. So maybe there might be a tactical switch. Maybe Courtois thinks about coming in this lap, allowing Carrera to then be bolted away in that clean air, because it seems like he's got a bit more pace than Courtois. Unsurprising, obviously, being the real driver in this situation. So maybe Courtois comes in now, allows Carrera to just go out in some clean air and further extend that lead and try his best to jump some people. And it'll be interesting to see where Courtois comes out. And also Tiametmarduk, Ben, in the McLaren 3rd place. Interesting to see where he's going to come out, because he was pretty close to Lando Norris. So he might come out around P12 with that fight with Latifi. And there you go. Like I said, Courtois comes in. Carrera can just now go out and lead the race and for one more lap and try and do the best job he can of extending that lead on that in lap, I guess, would be for him, as we move back to this fight now with Latifi v Lando v maybe Jay Pietsmiet.
Yeah, I think Courtois maybe left that pit stop just a lap too late. I think he would maybe prefer to come in a lap earlier just to protect himself ahead of the likes of Leclerc and Limitless. We'll see when he comes back out in a moment as we look at this battle. Look at this. It's incredible, isn't it? Latifi then right behind Lando Norris, who I think just got past him at some point on the lap. I'm not too sure. Pietsmiet just in front of them, who has been frustrating everyone out there today. Courtois has rejoined, by the way, but he is behind Leclerc, so he's in 8th place. Look at this, down the inside goes Norris on Pietsmiet, and I think he's bounced his way through. Pietsmiet bounces off the barrier. Latifi can do nothing but run into him, and he's damaged the wing. And look at the train of cars now. Matty in 13th, and James Baldwin is still 8 laps into this race, stuck all the way down in 14th place as Bollock Brassy lines up the Haas.
Yeah, that's going to be a bit nasty now. Matt will have a good chance to overtake Latifi, and James, knowing him, will try and be as tactical as he can to maybe try and pass him with him. As now we watch Chem very close. Will he go for the move? The Haas goes defensive on the inside, and Chem the long way around, and he makes it work a little bit wide into the corner, but keeps it inside the white lines and inside the track limits, and he's up into P5. Beautiful little move there out of the tunnel, and now he can go chase on Dep Yellow. As now you can see there, Pietsmiet and Latifi doing battle, and Latifi getting ahead in P10 despite that damage, but obviously Pietsmiet's got even more damage than him. And now James Baldwin all at the back, but he's going to try and have to be very careful here, because with a lack of front wing, he's a little bit slow, so James has to be kind of wary of that. But I'm sure James will be very frustrated at this moment, just watching them go very slowly through the last corner. Surely James can now line up a pass into turn 1. He's going to have to go for it, because if he doesn't, he's going to be held up even more now with the damage of the Racing Point car. But with Jay having DRS off Latifi, he's unable to do that. So Andy, this entire strategy that we mentioned before, he said it, but it's getting worse and worse for these guys. Yeah, it is. It's
just getting worse and worse and worse. Everyone thought pitting early. Oh, look at this. We've got a move here. Charles Leclerc down the inside and through up into 5th place at the hairpin. But yeah, you're absolutely right, Arav. Pitting early, everyone thought it was a great thing to do. You're going to gain so much time because you're going to be in clean air. It was the wrong thing to do. The guys staying out late, they're the ones in the clean air. And look at that, Tiametmarduk 8 laps in to this Grand Prix on a set of soft tyres, and he's 4.7 clear out at the front of the field, just building a gap over the guys squabbling in the midfield, and things are going to go well for him. He's coming into the pits now. Let's see where he rejoins the race. Courtois and Correa have rejoined it in 7th and 8th. They're on for a pretty solid result as things stand, as we continue to watch Charles Leclerc in 5th position at the minute. So let's see where Tiametmarduk will rejoin the track. I would imagine it will be around about the 2 Alfa Romeo drivers. We'll have to wait and see. But it is Tom 97 that now leads this race. Let's go then on board with Tiametmarduk, and there you go.
Dead, Andy.
2 Alphas ahead.
Just behind the Mercedes Tyrrell Limitless there. So in P9, but he's done himself pretty decently there. And now, obviously, he's got much fresher tyres compared to everyone else. So he can go a little bit harder towards the end of the Grand Prix. Maybe Ben's going to make some dive bombs. Might be hairpin time right at the end on the last lap, potentially for someone. You never know, because that tyre wear will pay out, especially on the rear end and on the biting on the front as well around Monaco. Is obviously, it's all about the kind of front, getting the nose turned in and getting as aggressive as you can on the power midway through the corner as early as you dare. But we've got a great battle brewing potentially with the 2 Alfa Romeos in P6 and 7, JD in the Mercedes in P8, and then you've got the McLaren P9 up at the front. You've got Tom Dip Yellow. As now there's a move there from JD around the outside, and the Merc goes through, and it's a sensational move there on Courtois. The two are very familiar with each other. Courtois trained with JD before, when this whole virtual racing began. This is how Courtois got involved, is via kind of JD, so they're very familiar with each other. But JD has schooled the kind of pupil, I guess, and showed him who the teacher is, and he's up into P7. And now Courtois has got to try and dive around and save his race from Ben in P9, and Ben is going to be very frosty indeed, obviously on the fresher tyres. Will he had a little look and deeper inside, but now running up the hill, will he make the move into Casino? Let's see. I wouldn't put it past Ben.
Oh, I wouldn't put it past him. Let's see then. Is he going to go around the outside of the Real Madrid goalkeeper? Not quite. But I've got to say, what a move from Tyrrell Limitless that was a moment ago. As here comes Tiametmarduk. Is he going to go down the inside into Monaco? Yes! Oh, nearly. And Thibaut Courtois.
I was wincing there. I had to cover my eyes, Andy, completely. Ben going for the, that was a risque top-tier YouTuber move, that one in P9, but thankfully did completely commit, and he can go again maybe, but there will be a time. It looks like Courtois is putting the pressure a little bit in P8, so I think there's going to be time for Ben to make that move, but frustrating maybe because JD's already getting away as we now cut on to this fight between, these two are probably sick of each other, especially Leclerc maybe, who is a sim racer, annoying him every single time if he's not the GP races. And Leclerc tries the switch actually, and a bit of space there opening up there from Chem, and had a look, not quite, but these two, Chem Bolakbasi fighting Leclerc once again for the third time in a Not the GP series event here, Andy, and Depiello not too far ahead of them in P2 as well, so it could become a three-way fight for P2.
Yeah, it sure does look like it, and as you say, I think you're absolutely right. Leclerc will be fed up seeing that Toro Rosso of Chem Bolakbasi. They've been racing so hard against each other. Leclerc trying everything, and he's got a good pace in this race, Leclerc. He's redeemed himself after that first race, no doubt about that. And he's having a look then into the hairpin, perhaps. Yes, up there inside of the hairpin. Oh, he's his way through. Are they going to have a turning circle to get round there? Yes, just about. Wing damage for Bolakbasi. He's not giving it up. They're still going side by side and into Portier at the entrance to the tunnel. Bolakbasi, the Turkish driver, holds on, but Leclerc coming back from side by side in the tunnel. Where have you ever seen that? As he threw round the outside. Oh, unbelievable stuff across the runoff. And Leclerc is through. Unreal.
What a camera angle. That was the F1 game, unfortunately, does not give us some great camera angles sometimes, Andy, but that was the perfect camera angle that time round. Kudos to the replay camera system, because that was exquisite, beautiful, a piece of art through the tunnel, the Ferrari the inside, the Toro Rosso on the outside, through side by side, and then he gets the job done round the outside like JD did on Courtois earlier. But Chem will come back, of course. He's got some damage, so that will be difficult for him, but I'm sure he's a big fighter, so he'll carry on and try his best as he now move to a battle between Pietsmiet and Chris Slate, the well-known DJ in P14 in the Renault there. Pietsmiet in the Haas chasing after Chris Slate, and then also behind there you've got Lebusé in the Red Bull as well in P16 down here for the kind of wooden spoon positions, I guess you could say, but Chris doing a good job at holding off the Haas for now there.
Yeah, well, I've got to say, I think the virtual marshals in the tunnel would have turned round in disbelief when he saw those two go side by side a moment ago, because I had to turn away from the screen. Unbelievable stuff going on there as we keep an eye on Pietsmiet then, up behind Chris Lake, who we've not seen much of so far, running in 14th place. And as they scrap over the lower placings, as Charles Leclerc gathers a 3-second time penalty. I've got to say, Tom97, by the way, does he want a job on one of the real-life pit walls as a strategist? What a job he's done again out front. He just seemed to time his pit stop well, got some clean air, and he leads this race. It's just incredible. He was one of the ones that did pit early, but I think he timed it well as we see Pietsmiet get some wing damage. But Tom, 9 seconds out in front, he's pitted, and looks to be on to take the victory here, Adam. Incredible job he's done, hasn't it? Yeah,
looking very comfy indeed. Very, very comfy. Great strategy for him. And potentially Chris Lake might be DJing at the after party, Andy, for Tom's victory and for James' victory. Tom doing Veloce Esports proud there. Another Veloce Esports member potentially winning a race here at Monaco. It'll be great to see, but we'll have to see how it goes. You never know, Andy. 6 laps to go. A mistake can happen. It's happened before in real life. It's happened virtually, I'm sure, in league races. So don't count anything out quite yet. Anything can happen in Formula One, as they say, but we now watch on a battle for P2. Leclerc closing up to Depiello, who's done a stunning job, to be fair. He's looked very aggressive this race. Kudos to him for those aggressive moves. But Leclerc, oh my God, he goes for it again. Oh, it's his favourite move, it would seem. He's done a copycat, and he's gone down inside the same place in the tunnel. Leclerc, he's found his groove. Charles Leclerc has entered the chat properly now here, lads, for race number 2 at Monaco. He's loving life here in the night race.
Well, that's local knowledge for you. I wonder how many times he's driven through that tunnel, racing and normally. And yeah, brilliant stuff from Leclerc. He gets the move done on Depiello into the tunnel again. Absolutely epic as Depiello. Well, I don't know if he's playing Dirt Rally. That was a big slide there going through the final corner. And here comes Chem Bolakbasi. Is he going to be easy meet into the first corner? It looks like Bolakbasi is through on Depiello, so he drops out of the podium places. And well, I said drips by accident there. There won't be any drips of champagne for him either, because he's now down in 4th place. As James Baldwin, running in 11th place, is doing everything he can to try and get into the points at the moment, which is unbelievable given how well he performed in the first race. Stark contrast, Adam, isn't it?
Yeah, but it was potentially, something that would happen with the reverse. That's why, that was going to always be an interesting thing. So he can still be very, very proud of what he's done in race 1. And let's see if he can maybe just have a nice battle with a Formula 1 driver. This alone will just be a nice experience to maybe try and overtake a Formula 1 driver. If he can make a dive out the tunnel or in the tunnel and do a Leclerc, that'd be awesome to see. Right now, putting him under pressure and, trying to find out maybe potentially where he's slow compared to him and trying to set that move up, like you said, Andy. It's all about kind of setting up moves at Monaco, trying to find the confidence of where you're confident, where the driver ahead of you is maybe not as confident, and then going for the move once you've kind of studied that and done that homework in the car whilst you're flying about at 160 miles per hour, whatever, through the streets of Monaco. So James still pressurising, and they're actually both catching Courtois as well, potentially, if they're quick enough. 4 seconds, the gap there. You can see the Red Bull is ghosted, so he's being lapped there, so that won't be an issue for them. They'll go through him pretty easily. And Latifi a little bit hairy on the exit, and James has DRS, of course. Latifi does not off any car at the moment, so he'll close up a little bit more as they get very close into turn 1. And just up the road, I think that was a Ferrari in the distance. I think that's also maybe a lap car potentially of Matt. I'm not too sure, as James now will this will be a little bit frustrating for him getting kind of in the Red Bull in the ghost car, because that will kind of mess with his eyesight a little bit as we now move back to the fight between Bottas and Leclerc, and it looks like Shem's getting used to the damage he's got and is picked the pace back up, because he's putting the F1 driver under pressure once again.
Yeah, he's doing well. Sometimes I find around Monaco, like if you're the car in front and there's a guy right behind you, you find yourself looking in your mirrors more than you do in front, and that does not help you. So when it's roles reversed, then you do pick up the pace. You've got a reference in front of you, and the guy in front is the guy looking in his mirrors all the time. So perhaps that's what's going on there. I think they both get a little bit of damage, because I just seen Leclerc has picked up some as well. So let's just see if Bottas can try a move. He's going left, going right into the first corner. He's going round the outside of Charles Leclerc into Saint-Denis. He won't find a way through there. Leclerc says, oh no, you don't, as they go up the hill through Beau Rivage and on to Masseny. Where can Bottas try this time? He has a little look, but no more than a look, as De Pilio says, I'm coming back for more. I'm still not giving up on this podium position. And look at that. That's so close between them, as Juan Manuel Correa is in there as well.
Yeah, in one sector, Correa has joined them. So it's a four-way fight now for P2. Awesome to see. And the Alfa Romeo is trying to go around the outside of the Red Bull. Oh, but it contact. The Alfa gets bolted into the air a little bit there with the physics. And so that was very, very hairy. So they both lost time now to that fight. But you saw there, that's classic Monaco. If you fight just a little bit, one sector is all you need. And the car that was a second back is closed up to the fight here. So that's going to be interesting to see, because Chem is just going to keep this pressure on. So even though those two have lost time, they'll probably close back up within a lap.
Yeah, and there's going to be quite the train queuing up, because I'm pretty sure I've seen Mercedes and McLarens and maybe even I think a Haas in there as well. So there could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 cars in a line pretty soon, because of course these guys have got wing damage at the front. Not only are they battling and losing time, they've also got wing damage. So as you say, in a sector, one car can catch up. In a whole lap, they could all catch up. And going to the back of the train that's about to form, here is Tiametmarduk trying a move. Is he going to get it done? Round
goes down the inside.
Has he done it? Side by side up the hill. Look how close this is going to be. Tiametmarduk just in front of Tierra Limitless, and he's done it. That was absolutely epic stuff from Tiametmarduk as they now chase down Juan Manuel Correa.
Yeah, absolutely stunning move there. And now Ben going for the move down the inside as we cut away to another move of Chem. And he spun Charles Leclerc around. Controversy here. Drama at the Monaco Grand Prix. And Leclerc, he drove around Monaco backwards on a Twitch live stream 2 weeks ago. He's backwards out the hairpin, and he's found himself in the wall. And it's just not going well for him at Monaco. He's cursed his home Grand Prix. You sometimes get that. Drivers sometimes don't gel well. Jenson Button never gelled well at Silverstone. I feel like, unfortunately, let's hope it doesn't, continue in real life in the coming years. But right now, it's not going too well for him at Monaco, is it, Leclerc?
Yeah, you're right. Daniel Ricciardo's had a few F1 races at Melbourne, hasn't he? As has Rubens Barrichello, most notably at Brazil. It never went well for him there, and things not going well for Charles Leclerc here either. As we go to Tiametmarduk in 7th place down the inside. He goes into Raskas. That was magnificent on Tierra Limitless, and he takes the place away. Oh, that was absolutely brilliant. Tierra Limitless won't take well to that. He's going to go down the inside, is he? And off he goes. Keeps it on the island somehow. Don't know how. And Tiametmarduk maintains 6th place. Behind that, I think they're side by side going up the hill, and it's the Williams of Latifi that gets a move done there, I think, on Tierra Limitless. Wow.
There's 2 laps left, Andy, and now no one cares. The gloves are off. The dive bomb's happening. It's time. It's time to make the move. If you don't make it now, it's not going to happen. Let's see if it's going to be Merc v Merc. Maybe, as James is right behind, you can see as well the Ferrari. I think, oh no, that's Matt being lapped, actually, unfortunately. But as Ben making some great dives here, and also a great save, because he got tapped by JD and somehow held the drift or whatever it was. It kind of snakes the snap of the car into turn 1. on and has held that through in P6 and continues to try and chase after potentially Alfa Romeo of Carrera up ahead, who's actually fallen behind Courtois. So those two have swapped somewhere in this Grand Prix. So maybe Carrera has had some damage there, and Courtois has got up into fourth place and chasing De Piello. As now you can see the two motors getting very frosty. Will James make a move round the outside of Raskas? JD gets the elbows out there, not quite for the world's fastest gamer, but he went for it, he sent it, and JD's got damage, and James does not, I believe. So with DRS, will he make a move into turn one? Let's see. No, JD putting up a great fight there against his teammate, trying his best to hold on to P9, and look at that, up ahead, Ben right up behind the Alfa Romeo as well. So it's all kicking off, Andy, on the last lap of the Monaco Grand Prix, where Tom has dominated this race, but it's all kicking off, and that is James has got past Tyrrell, and he's up into P9, into Casino Square that was.
Yeah, well, unbelievable stuff there. Not much wing left on that Mercedes of Tyrrell, I don't think. But yeah, great stuff there from James Ball when he gets the move done. Look at the train of cars. This is absolutely crazy. Courtois and all this is now back up into fourth place. But look at this. Tom 97 round the final corner. What a performance. He's the king of strategy. He's the king of Monaco. Tom 97 takes the win in style. It's going to be Bollitt Bassi second and De Piello third. Don't even ask me who's going to be fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth. This is absolutely crazy. Juan Manuel Carrera holding them all up, and look at that. One of the Ferraris is a lap down. It's going to just overtake them all by ghosting, but it looks like it's going to be Juan Manuel Carrera at the head of the train. Look at the two Mercedes who've had such a difficult race trying to find a way through. We've got Tiametmarduk being overtaken by Limitless into Raskas. It's Bollitt Bassi second, De Piello third, Courtois fourth, and across the line it could be anybody. It's the Haas that gets fifth on penalties. Baldwin actually gets sixth. Wow.
Yeah, wow, yeah, that's actually with all the penalties. James kept it really clean that race, I guess, then. And so Leclerc, after being span around at the hairpin, is going to come through for P12 at his home Grand Prix. Sorry, Charles, maybe lucky in 2021 potentially, or, just at any point, really, at Monaco. But you know what? That's a great finish, that race, Andy. That was so hectic. That entire, last 4 laps, just... Madness.
Yeah, it just shows you can't have a strategic plan for Monaco. You just can't. The guys at the front thought, oh yeah, we'll pit early. No, that does not work. The only man that made it work, the only men that made it work were De Piello and Tom 97. They managed to just time it right, kept their noses clean, and what a performance from Tom. Well done to him on the victory. He's got to be the driver of the day for me in that race. He was unlucky not to get it the first race, wasn't he? But great job, great victory from him. But I mean, there's so many great overtakes. What was your favourite overtake? There was so many.
Ooh. So many overtakes, Andy. There's so many. I got it. It's got to be just for the camera shot we got as well of it was that Leclerc v Bollitt Bassi. That was just, like I said, it was a Formula 1 art there through that tunnel on the inside to actually keep it through, keep the foot on the pedal, and then to get the job done under braking around the outside. Exquisite move there. But GG's for Tom 97 for the win, and so that's 2 Veloce Esports boys winning both Monaco Grand Prix races. So I guess we as a team love the Monaco GP, it would seem.
Yeah, and both drivers, they hadn't participated in the GP since Australia, so they've taken some time out, been having a look and watching some of the races, and they've came here and delivered with a couple of victories. But let's bring Hayden in on that one. Hayden, wow, we need a rest after that. We need a break. That was unbelievable stuff, wasn't it?
Oh my God, how do you describe that race? So many things to talk about. There was the Limitless overtake, there was the Charles overtakes into the tunnel, Ben versus JD, and what about that battle for fourth? Absolutely incredible. But as you all said, congratulations to Tom 97, a great victory and a great 2 races around Monaco. He kept it clean. And, he was rewarded at the end of the day. We can't forget Bollitt Bassi, second place, a great result for him. And a French content creator, De Piello. I hope I said that right. I probably didn't know me, but he gets the podium, which is absolutely fantastic. And Thibaut Courtois in fourth. Incredible racing, Aaron. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, really good stuff. It's really good to see De Piello get in third place because he was really aggressive at the start, and so GG's for being that aggressive, going for the move for the lead on the racing point into turn 1, and he just looked really consistent out there, kept up with Leclerc and Bollitt Bassi, so GG's to him. And then, Courtois did a great job. P4 doing Alfa Romeo racing proud there. His teammate helped him out a little bit, kind of being a little bit of a train, holding everyone up basically, but, sometimes that's how it works. Teammates have to work like that. Unfortunately for the McLarens, maybe the teamwork didn't work as well. I think Lando got caught up with some mayhem once again. Ben got in the wars, and speaking of those wars, Hayden, I mean, those last 4 laps were just insane. That was Monaco on steroids, really.
Well, you said it yourself, the gloves were off. Nobody cared anymore. anymore about losing their front wing. They wanted that position, and boy, did they go for it. But let's just talk about Monaco at night. What a beautiful spectacle that was. No one expected saw that. It looks incredible.
It is beautiful. You know, the beauty of a Formula One game, you can have the race at night where maybe they wouldn't be able to do that in the real life because I'm sure the visibility won't be as good. But in the game, they can place all these floodlights and just make it look insane. And so it added to the, like I said, the art that was some of those overtakes in the tunnel, especially with Leclerc, Bolotbassi. But the entire spectacle was great. I'm sure, and hopefully the drivers enjoyed driving around at night because I'm sure, obviously, some of them have never played the F1 game with Monaco at night. So that must have been a great experience as well. Yeah,
we've got a tweet this coming in. This is from @Sean McGowan. # not the GP. What a live stream tonight. One word to describe both races. Carnage. And it was absolute carnage today, but entertaining carnage. And that's what we like to see at the end of the day. We want to be entertained. That's why we're putting these on, because, you know, it's a good thing out of a bad situation, something that everyone can sort of come together still during these difficult times. And it put on an entertaining show. You can't deny that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a great mix you get with these races. You know, there's some actual great racing, some great overtakes, and then literally cut to the camera and there's a bit of chaos and a bit of, you know, argy-bargy and just some great infighting between just gamers on the F1 game, having a good time. You know, it doesn't matter, you know, F1 driver, content creator, you know, broadcaster or whatever, it doesn't matter. It's all stripped away. You're just you in the game and you're just racing other people, trying to have some fun out there. And at Monaco, you know, it's tricky to make anything work without making a little bit of contact there. And so you just got to get the elbows out, have a little bit of fun with it, and that's exactly what we got in both races there today, Hayden.
We really did. We've got another tweet coming. This is from @Hishalbulls. #NotGP. Fantastic race on the edge of my seat from start to finish. And it really was from start to finish, entertainment all the way throughout the field. People to talk about as well. James Baldwin dropped down the field, had a really poor start, but he came back again by the end of the race. And I think he finished P6 in the end, which is absolutely incredible for him.
Yeah, really good. I mean, I honestly, I kind of wrote him off a little bit of even getting the points maybe early on in that race, because it looked like everyone who pit early did exactly what Andy mentioned, was they tripped over each other. They definitely held each other up in the pits. But then to come back to P6 in the end with all the penalties. So, you know, James obviously massive, you know, well-versed in keeping it clean, I guess. And he just didn't cut any corners and get into action. And so he just gained all those positions by just being clean, but also still being there or thereabouts and having that time gap. And I would actually say that's a really decent drive, actually, because at one point he was in P12, stuck behind some cars, so I really didn't think he was going to do it. So P6 and P1 in the first race, I think you can be really proud of his performance on the return to the Not GP series.
Let's talk about Tiametmarduk as well. He missed out on the first race. Unfortunately, I think he got disconnected from the first race, which he's got to be gutted about. We both know him very well and know that he loves racing around Monaco. So very quickly, great racing from him, and actually really good overtakes. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for him in the end. He got 11th, but there were some great battles from Ben.
Yeah, for sure. And I think we've got some interviews now ready for us as well.
I believe we do. Yeah, I believe we've got JD and JB, Tyrrell Limitless, and James Baldwin. How was that race from your perspective, guys?
Do you go first, JD?
Yeah, you go first. You won the first one.
That's how kind they are. They can't talk.
Yeah, that was mad. That second race was, oh my god, like lap one. I was stationary at one point on the first lap, which I've never had in any race before. But yeah, it was good, man. I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, James. Race one, tell us about it. You basically just smashed it in that first race.
Yeah, the nice pace gap. Putting some practice today for it, paid off. So yeah, it was good. I thought that Tom was on the back of me, but I think he was on a different strategy. And JD pulled it home for P2. So good job.
Mercedes 1-2. Were you talking just exclusively to each other? Because I know there's a lot of Discord channels going on. Were you just you two, or were you with the other guys as well? Were you talking strategy throughout that whole race?
Nah, we weren't. To be fair, we should have been race 2, because when JD boxed, it completely messed my race up. I had to sit behind his... What's that?
I sent you a text beforehand.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing stuff. Limitless as well. We move on to you. A good race in the first race. Unfortunately, you couldn't get that race win, just settling behind Baldwin. But fantastic racing between yourself and Benjamin as well, Tiametmarduk. And you had a great overtake down in towards the Novel chicane as well. Talk us about that overtake that you made.
Yeah, first of all, well done to James in the first one. Mercedes 1-2 is really good. And yeah, the second race was it was very, very fun, but very frustrating as well. I think I was stationary in the swimming pool for chicane for like 10 seconds at one point in the second race or something as well. But yeah, that overtake I did on Tebow going to out the tunnel was a really, really nice overtake. And yeah, Ben, we had some nice battles. Made sure I had no rotation by destroying my wing every single lap. But yeah, it was it was fun. Yeah, made sure of that. But yeah, it was a hell of fun. Really, really good.
There's a few collisions between you and Ben. Will there be any love lost between the two of you?
Nah, yeah. I think he's a good guy. So yeah, he was spicy, but it'll be good YouTube videos for both of us, I'm sure.
It'd be nice to do a track where we can overtake next week.
Yeah.
Well, I was just about to ask you, final question before we round up. We always like to leave it up to the audience where we race next time around. So where would you like us to go with Not the GP for the next one?
I'm going to say Monza.
You agree?
You
agree? Singapore. You fancy another night race circuit?
Yep, another night race, more opportunities to overtake, tyres overheat.
Well, I mean, we could do Monza at night.
Yeah.
I don't think that's possible, unfortunately.
Oh, maybe not. Anyway, we'll see.
Anyway, we're going to have to round it up there. Thank you guys very much for joining us, and congratulations on the great racing out there today.
Cheers, guys. See you later.
Cheers.
Just want to say, Arav, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you alongside me in the punditry, and you've done once again another fantastic job in the commentary box, and say thank you as well to you, Andy, for a great job over there. But Arav, quickly round up that race. One little short summary for that race.
An absolute madness. An absolute madness. That's the only way I can say it. Maybe also a bit of a work of art in a way with some of those overtakes, like I mentioned, but just good old Monaco fun on the F1 game, Hayden.
Absolute madness. You've heard it here. Thank you, everyone, for joining us at home. Don't go anywhere, because there is going to be an after party if you're watching over on Twitch. We will send you over to the Not the GP after party. We weren't supporting UNICEF this weekend, but we want to say a big thank you to everybody who donated over the last few weeks and really helped us to beat our target of raising over £10,000. But we will see you next time when Not the GP returns.